Hey, it's Dan. Welcome back. You're watching iAllegedly. And I've got a good one for you today because there's no more freeloading, guys. It's done. Done, done, done. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, join our email list. We have a private channel also called iAllegedly Live, and I am at the Botanical Gardens in Laguna Niguel for you today. But there has been threats forever, since I was a young boy, that the welfare program was going to be changed to where it was going to be workfare. We heard about this with Ronald Reagan, and now with the new administration, not only are they talking about this, but they're doing something about it. And they're going to have time limits, and they're going to have, different things until you can prove that you're worthy. Now, please understand this, guys. There are people out there that are having a difficult time. There are people out there that fall on difficult times. You know, homelessness, how does this happen? People lose a job and they don't have any connection. And socially, they cannot get themselves up. And then you have the drug abuse and things like that that can contribute to that. But, you know, the problem with that is it's not everybody. You have a certain sector of people that want to be given something and cannot pick themselves back up from that. And those people, again, you know, we talked about Ronald Reagan a second ago. He got rid of a lot of the mental health wards and things like that. He's the guy that did that. So a lot of people talk great things about him. He also destroyed one sector of our economy and our country by not having, active mental health programs in the hospitals for people to deal with this, type of thing. The one thing that is I am blown away with is I talked about this a little bit, but on TikTok, there are women out there, I've not seen one man do this yet, talking about how you can take advantage of the system and have kids. And these people are driving cars I will never drive. They will, have $75,000 and $80,000 vehicles that they are getting from our dime, from the government, from us paying our taxes. And it's outrageous, being baby machines and having kids. It's ridiculous. There's a 205-page report about ending this, and it's great. And I started to read it, and I was like, "Oh my God, this is fantastic," because it's going to make people responsible for this. You just don't get the free run anymore. It's done. Okay, so if you're against that, I'm sorry. But what I'm not against is there are people that have it difficult. There are people that have deaths in the family that need money and need food and need services. I get it, guys. There are people that get divorced or they're in an abusive relationship or they just can't pull themselves ahead. So many people don't make enough to live in Orange County, California. I'm in Laguna Niguel, this city right here. This is where Bob lives. It's insane how much money is in this city. But this little park with all its trails and everything like that, every house around here is $2 million, for a simple track home. Who can afford that, guys? Who can afford that? So Bob can. Okay. But anyways, my point is that the days of people just getting by, getting the pass and getting the free stuff are done. There is so much activity right now with the COVID money where people are coming after that, and you haven't seen anything yet. Because I've heard reports from people that work in government that are telling me, wait, Dan, wait till you see how we're going to come after the unemployment scams and the, people that were in the medical space that were, and this is what made this one woman think about me. She goes, you were put in on medical events and the company got destroyed. That's one thing. But people that are like, were healthcare practitioners collecting unemployment, how is that legal? Okay. Well, freeloading's done, guys. And speaking of loading things, we've heard so much about tariffs lately. Let's talk about China for a second. They were blasted up to, isn't that cool, little walkway? They were blasted up to 145% and then recently dropped down to 30%. But here is the thing. The busiest port in the United States is here in Southern California. You guys have seen me film there before. It's great. It's very, very busy. It is off 30% from a year ago. And people say, oh, that's because of the tariffs. No, May is because of the tariffs. May is because of the tariffs. Before this time, before this month, in 2025, The port activity is off over 30%. How about this? 17 of 80 ships that were supposed to land in May have been canceled right now. We're not going to deliver that. That's not coming. This is going to have such huge repercussions on everything around us. All these different businesses, you know, dock workers make a lot of money. Let's start with them. They're not going to have the work. You're not going to have the local businesses around that. You're not going to have the trucking companies around that. You're not going to have the businesses get their merchandise. You're going to see other companies go out of business. Do you remember during 2021 when we had such a problem getting merchandise delivered that you had things like, we had Valentine's Day delivered at 4th of July. We had the 4th of July stuff around Christmas. I mean, it was a mess. It was an absolute mess during that time. Well, get used to it, guys, because that's coming again. But, Aaron sent me this great article out of CoStar, broker Aaron, and it's unbelievable because the activity was totally off prior to the tariff announcement. So the economy is going to suffer. And, I had a lunch today with a great businessman talking about all these different things and how, he and I related to studying, down economies and studying the Depression, studying what caused the Depression, studying who made money during the Depression, the stock market crash, everything that happened during that time. There were hundreds and hundreds of car companies on the New York Stock Exchange that you've never heard of because they didn't survive, the stock market crash of 29. So it's just the beginning, guys. It's just the beginning. But if you look at some experts, and Robert Kiyosaki, I was going to do an extended thing with him. Nice, cool stairways. He's talking about how you can make money in a down economy. And that's what people need to look at. They need to look at ways to make more money with an off economy. And everybody thinks that they just, it's just get a better job. I'm telling you this right now. You're going to see the fact that there's going to be less and less hours. You're going to see more and more people that are not going to put in a full 40-hour week between now and the end of the year. You're going to see a lot of people go remote, which is what they want to do. The other side of one of these staircases. But the cool thing about this is that you're going to see it to where, okay, you want to work remotely, Dan? You're going to make 30% less. That's what the contract is. You want to come to the office? You're going to drive here? You're going to make 30% more. That's going to be offered more and more. Let me know what you think about this. Is it unfair to make these people qualify for welfare? Medicaid, having these people work for this? You would think that I'm telling you that they're making people walk a tightrope. They're making them do something really heinous. And again, it's just not everybody's disabled. Not everybody cannot work. And, my favorite thing lately is I have anxiety, so I can't work. Squirrels jumping branch to branch up there. We're all anxious, guys. Everybody's worried about certain things one way or another. Something gets you edgy, okay? You just can't let that overtake your life. Get some help if that's where you're at. But the world is a difficult place. I saw a great article about how the skills of speaking to people is going away with people in their 20s. And again, everybody I've talked to, I grew up in a different world. You had to call people. You wanted to go get a job, you had to show up and talk to people. These people have the luxury of using an app and texting people, but it's made it so that people cannot communicate with one another. You and I, us old folks, we have it made because we know how to sit down and talk to people. And again, one thing I did with my kids that I still do, don't text me CULTR, no. Full sentences with a period. You're being graded. Okay? Let me know what you think so far. Home Depot's been in the news a lot lately. We talked about them quite a bit, where we're hearing about how, people just aren't fixing things up. They're not spending the money. Home Depot knows the problems, and they're going to start laying off more people in the stores, which is terrible, guys. It's awful to walk into a store and not have a professional, answer your questions. It's like walking into an auto parts store. You want the motorhead. You want the guy that's worked in the car. When you start asking questions, they will do it for you. By the way, that's the other thing, is that it's time of the year to change your windshield wiper blades in the spring. Do it now. A lot of places, you'll walk up there, buy the blades, they'll install them for free, which is great. I always recommend people doing that. Booz Allen Hamilton is a consulting firm that says that their peer-to-peer, business-to-business is off so much right now. Suffer through these stairs and try to balance myself. That the numbers are off a ton because there's not consulting between companies right now. So, do you need it? Do you need to get their advice right now? Things are bad right now. Not pay those guys. Let's ditch them. They know it too. That's why they're laying people off. People are not hiring us for our services right now. Oh. Citibank. Remember we talked about this 2 years ago. You're going to see digital transactions that are going to be done at the speed of light. Well, Citibank is quietly offering something for business-to-business transactions where no fees, lightning fast service, and you can pay and transfer money. Now, 2 days ago, we heard from Wells Fargo talk about, hey, wait a second, we're going to start flagging transactions as suspicious if people do wire transfers and things like that. Well, Citibank is not concerned about that. They just want you to know you're going to get your money faster. So, as I get to climb up this hill. This is always, it's great after it rains and it dries out. It's great in springtime. Get all the flowers and stuff. This thing goes, there's miles of trails here. So that'll be interesting. But again, guys, one thing I'm going to do between now and the holiday is cover everything in the big, beautiful bill, because there's a bunch of tax stuff. There's a bunch of things that were in there that are going to have major impact for all of us. And things that we've talked about that were catastrophic with the last administration, they just got rid of them. And again, no press, no bragging about this. What we're going to break it down for you over the weekend. So you got a lot of cool stuff that's coming out. I love doing those exposés. You know, sometimes the videos don't do well as far as, like, you know, get 100,000 views. But I just love sharing stuff like this. And this is just, it's wild to think about, because you're going to see more and more and more of this news come out. The Senate has already said that they're going to have refinements to that. Yeah, I'm sure they're going to take a hatchet to some of it. So let me know what you think so far. Here are two wild stories that we're hearing more and more about. And the first one is postal employees that are stealing our mail and stealing checks and cashing checks. First one is out of Detroit. These people, think about this, stole $63 million worth of checks. Wouldn't you kind of catch that? Wouldn't you? Would it take that long to realize that there are so many people stealing mail, that they're cashing government checks and doing that? Like, apparently not. These people were doing it for years. For years they were out stealing these checks, setting up fake bank accounts, and got caught when police were led to one of their locations, and they lied, you know, about what they were doing. And then people started asking questions. Why do you have all these checks? Why do you have all this cash? And of course they got caught, and then come to find out that they're a postal employee. So that's wild. The next one is out of West Virginia. And these people were stealing $2 million of the checks. They already pled guilty. The first group was charged. These guys already pled guilty to $2 million in theft. So they're stealing so many checks, government checks, payroll checks, everything that they had an easy time cashing. They would set up a deal with a check cashing location. They would go into the check cashing location, and they had a deal with them to where, okay, you can get your checks cashed 1.5%. If you don't have an account, you don't have ID, to 5%, things like that. Well, we're going to pay you 8 to 10%. We're going to pay you more than you would normally make. Okay, sure, we'll do that. It's like I talked about that mom and son that ran the business out of their house. It's done, you know, and they paid all this money but didn't pay any payroll taxes. So that's what they want to avoid. But again, if you had $100,000 worth of bad checks that were stolen, wouldn't you shut that down and go, gosh, we got a problem in Detroit with this? No, $63 million worth of checks, $2 million worth of checks in West Virginia. So let me know what you think about this. But these postal employees, it's just, they're getting more and more brazen. They're stealing things. We've heard so many things about metal shipments. I had a subscriber, and I told this story once before, but I'll tell it again, bought metals through the mail, okay? And weren't insured, sent out, and the post office showed delivered to his house. And he's like, I didn't get it. It's $20,000 of the metals. Nope, sorry. Yeah, they were delivered to your front door. So they tried to tell him that, there's nothing they could do about it. There's plenty of things they can do about that. Fight for your right to party, okay? And to get your medals back. Just a couple things to finish this video. First one, and a reminder, don't forget the private channel, iAllegedly Live. It's uncensored. Check it out today. You go to iAllegedly.tv. Now, one thing that we were talking about earlier was stopping freeloading. And I tied that into the ports. Think about this. In San Bernardino County, there are 4,000 warehouses here in Southern California. A lot of the port traffic goes to these warehouses and they're shipped out. Amazon, different locations like that are there. Last month, they hired 1,300 people. And they were like, wow, it's going to be a boom for shipping this year. This month, in May, they've let go of 1,400 people. So they lost jobs already in the month of May. So you haven't seen anything yet, guys. It's going to be awful when it comes to this. And it's going to dramatically affect everything because the warehouses are having problems. They've canceled warehouse construction. And here's the one thing. Communities that were generally against these warehouses being built, they fought. People don't want to have a warehouse in their backyard. They don't want the truck traffic. They don't want the problem with the dirt, the soot, everything that these trucks bring with them. And right now, this is kind of right in itself because a lot of companies are saying we're not going to build any more warehouses. Because again, San Bernardino has 4,000 warehouses. Final story out of Central Florida, and I love this one. Elijah Mackey works at a Checkers. Checkers is a fast food place. One guy was incredibly angry about his order, so what did he do? He pulled out a thingy and clip the customer. And the guy's no longer with us. Elijah Mackey did that. And it made all the local news there, but a bunch of people sent it to me because, well, that's customer service gone wrong. And, the guy just couldn't take the anger of somebody yelling at them. But all the customers in the area, if you see the 2 news stories below, they were freaking out and running and screaming, scared. But again, people don't know how to deal with customers. And, I don't know how vulgar the guy was that was upset about his order and his burger being wrong, but I don't think he needed to end up not with us anymore. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and you want to get a hold of me, it's hello@iallegedly.com. Isn't it crazy how we hear stuff like that now? I mean, it's just nuts. Things have escalated that far out of control.